Welcome to the Uncle Hack Podcast, where dudes pretty much just talk dude shit.
Welcome to another episode of the Uncle Hack Podcast. A few quick notes for you. If you're in the Edmonton area this weekend, Roast Battle is here. January 15th at Station on Jasper. Your dog, your boy, the host of this fucking show. All right, demonetized right out the gate. Great. I will be hosting Danger Cat's Roast Battle this weekend in Edmonton, Alberta. Station on Jasper. Great lineup, okay? Great lineup this weekend. Sharp tongue assassins going to shred to one another to bits on stage. 4-person battle royale to find a new number one contender. We have Sam Walker. You know him. If you follow this channel or this podcast, you know who Sam Walker is. He is our current heavyweight champion of the world. He's putting the title on the line against Faris Haitia, the man who beat me in our first ever roast battles when myself and Brett Forte came together and collided brands, and we said, you know what, we need to take this bigger, take it better. I threw my hat into the fucking ring, and I lost to a better man. He was sharper. He was on his game that day, and he earned the number one contender spot to battle Sam Walker for the strap this weekend. That's right, title fight. We're putting a title on the line this weekend, and your dog is hosted, okay? So if you're in the Edmonton area looking to get loose with it, come on down, Station at Jasper. Tickets available at dangercatshop.com. We got a few more dates. Daddy's coming home. That's right. I'm heading back to Taber, Alberta, January 22nd. I will be in Taber at the Pin. Tickets available also at dangercatshop.com. And Last Call Live, the live stream that we do every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We also every month do a live podcast and stand-up at a secret location where you can smoke marijuana in. Isn't that beautiful? It's just a 2-minute ad read right out the gate. Jesus, Hack, what are you doing? But if you're in Edmonton and you want to come to a secret location and blaze up, watch some comedy with the fellas, by all means, come on down. And, or actually, if you need the location, I'm not going to say the location. If you purchase tickets, the location is sent to your email. And those tickets are available at, you guessed it, dangercatshop.com. Let's get into the episode. Okay, first, Trudeau calls the unvaxxed racist and misogynist. We're going to get into that. Another great fan question. We got, these young bucks have problems, and I'm here to solve them, okay? That's what happens on this show. Young men across what I would say the continent are emailing me with problems, and I have solutions for them. Are they good solutions? Absolutely not. No. But I feel as the quote-unquote patriarchy needs to be reestablished. That's why I do this show, is so young men can feel empowered. You need a more retarded Jordan Peterson, right? You do. You need that. You need that in this world, because every time Jordan Peterson's name pops up, the Call Her Daddy Army, they take the cock out of their tonsils and they have to air what they feel is necessary to try to devalue his point of views, how he's empowering young men, right? Now take that guy, make him retarded. You got me. That's what I'm doing. I'm empowering the young men across the continent by giving them advice that they shouldn't listen to, but they do anyways. And that's what I'm here for, lads. So if you do have a fan question, please DM me at UncleHack69. We keep you anonymous. We don't need to out you. I'm not here to make you seem like the evil person, okay? That's not my job as a podcast host, which I will never do to you. I will never do that to you, you young little fucking rascal, all right? But first, we got, Trudeau. But first off, let me get something off my chest, okay? Let me get something off my chest. Speaking of problems, speaking of what I go through, I may seem like a gentleman that is put together quite well. I know a lot of you look at me and see, oh, wow, look at this astute, exquisite, entertaining, very, very, very well-educated man who presents himself every Thursday at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. And if you're a Patreon subscriber, you get this episode at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Tuesday, fucking 48 hours earlier than everybody else, right? That's why you see their names at the back end, because those are the top tier fucking babies right there. That's what keeps this show going. So if you want to support the show, please head to patreon.com/dangercats69. That's a astute, very bright gentleman right here. Can't even remember a URL to promote myself. I'm very horrible at doing that at times. But even myself, I have issues that I go through in relationships, whether it be my mental stability, my physical stability. Your boy's back in the gym. I refuse to go back and start training any sort of martial art or combat sport right now because I know what happens, okay? My brain starts turning. I'm 31 years old now. It's time to hang up the gloves. I'm not going to make it anywhere, and there's no sense getting CTE for a hobby, all right? You know, our dog, our boy, Tanner Boser in the UFC, tearing it up. He's doing quite well. I believe he has a fight coming up, but I didn't see an announcement, and I'm not going to be the guy to... I'm not going to break news on here. I'm not that, okay? But I know the moment that my Neanderthal brain gets rocked with a right hook, some wires start to cross, and I start thinking that I still got it. You know, even after taking a blow to my cranium, I think in my head, oh, wow, I still have it. I can fight still. And that's not a good thing. So I'm going to avoid getting into any sort of martial art training and all, or even combat sports training at all for the time being. But we're going to shed the weight, you know? You seen... Maybe you didn't. Maybe you did. You seen the photos of me fucking a pumpkin, right? And that is a grotesque body. It is disgusting. You had a chubby fuck putting his pecker into a goddamn pumpkin, and you think to yourself, "Is that what I looked at that? Is that what I look like? Is that what I look like?" So it's time to hit the gym. Time to get the diet back. Time to get jacked up. Imagine I get jacked up like Carrot Top, start rolling around town with just veiny fucking biceps, triceps, quads, thighs, fucking even my toenails fucking got muscles. You know what I mean? People look at this beast, look at this animal. Not that. No, we're going, I'll never get to it, but like a Brad Pitt and Troy. You remember that? Remember that? That shredded body. I remember one time I was a younger gentleman and, to fuck around, I fuck around way too much. That's the issue. But I like to get the work done at the same time. And you need motivation when you're in the gym. So I printed off a picture of Brad Pitt from the movie Troy as he's sitting on that horse with a shredded six-pack, washboard, abs, triceps, biceps, looking like a goddamn erect penis sitting upon a horse. You know what I mean? Just a fucking... I would kiss him. I would open mouth kiss him. He looked goddamn good in that movie. So I printed off a photo for motivation and plastered it right in front of me in the squat rack as I was just hammering out what I would say amateur weight. And there was a Bantam A hockey team also training in the gym at that moment. And they were looking like, is this guy out of his mind? And I was just saying obscene things. It's like, get this dick. Get this dick. You want to fuck this? You want to fuck me? You want to fuck me? You know, like it's almost as if I was a deranged female in a, you know, lounge type setting, and and there's a table full of cucks, and they steal the show. They start holding court and be like, yeah, don't you guys want to fuck me, don't you? All you want to fuck me, and they overpower the conversation in the room with this very forward, almost masculine like energy, and that was my dominance in the room. And these young bucks, they're looking like, oh boy, is that what happens when you get older? I don't know if they were amused or terrified, either or. They knew I meant fucking work in that bitch. They looked at that and be like, this guy is working his ass off. He's gonna look like Brad Pitt in Troy if he keeps this type of this type of energy every time he walks through those gym doors. And I made sure to keep that photo in my gym bag and plaster it in front of me. I don't care if it's the squat rack. I don't care if I'm doing preacher curls off that little bench thing. I don't know all the names for gym equipment, but I'll tell you one thing. Me and Brad are the best gym partners out there. That's all I know. With that being said, with that off my chest, dude, the funniest fucking thing, the funniest, most annoying thing, I must say, happened the other day. And it was irritating and as well as hilarious at the same time. One sec. Not yet. Ripping a pod and I'll be free. That's gross. That's what you want to hear on a podcast, is somebody just fucking hucking one back. So it is 4 o'clock in the morning, all right? The old lady gets up to go take a piss. And you know, the difference, this is what I'm noticing. There's always like one person in the relationship that is quiet, right? A little more quiet. You tiptoe, and it's usually men. I've noticed that. Men tiptoe around the house. They're like, oh, I gotta be quiet. Because here's the reason, right? When you're woken from a dead sleep as a guy, you know, some of us bitch, some of us just like bury it. There's always someone in the relationship that just fucking is just too loud. Maybe you're both too loud. I don't know. I don't know your situation, but my situation is I try to be as quiet as possible. But she treats getting, you know when you see a child get out of a bouncy castle? She's on the inside of the bed. I should paint this a little better so you understand where she's coming from. So that way I don't look like, oh, she's just a cunt. She's a cunt. So what's happening is she sleeps on the inside, so her corner of the bed is kind of tucked in towards the wall, all right? The bed is there. And how she gets out of the bed, the best way I can describe it is as a child gets out of a bouncy castle. You know how they're like bouncing on their ass trying to get out? That's how she gets out of the bed, is like bounce and scooch her ass, like a child getting out of a bouncy castle. So that frequently wakes me up. Not so much. Every now and then it does. If I'm like in a half-ass sleep, it wakes me up. But so that wakes me up. And then it's in the dead of night. I get it. It's dark. You're feeling around. You get in the door. You think I'm asleep. So she pisses with the door open. And you're like, oh, God. Ugh. It's not the pissing part that irritates me. Pissing with the door open. It is what it is, dude. I'll fucking hang a rat and let it leak wherever, whenever, you know? And she deals with that. If we're on a road trip, I'll just open up the door when we're parked, piss right there on the side of the highway as she watches the stream leave the tip of my dick, you know? It's a fucking well-balanced relationship, if you ask me. Now, this is the part that drove me insane, okay? It is 4 o'clock in the morning, and she looks over and says this. Notices that I'm like half-ass awake. I must have been like moving or showing signs of, okay, this guy is somewhat there. He's somewhat, he's just awake enough to be a part of a conversation. This is the question she asked me. Hey, did you remember to pick up toilet paper? 4 o'clock in the morning. 4 o'clock in the morning. That's the question I get hit with. She wants to have a conversation like we're on the panel of the fucking View. All right. So I say in a what I would consider a very rude tone, as most people would probably deliver this line. I says, "Shut the fuck up." And she goes, oh, well, you're being awfully rude. And then goes back to bed. Pardon me. As if I am the rude one in this scenario, right? I am the rude one. I woke you. I have inconvenienced you upon returning to the bed because I don't want to participate in a goddamn conversation at 4 a.m, whether or not earlier in the day I picked up toilet paper, which I did. And I says, yes, there's toilet paper in the spare bathroom where we keep it. I didn't say that. I said it in my head because I wanted to go the fuck to sleep. And then, in typical, ladies, you do this thing, okay? Well, you're being rude. I'm being rude because it's 4 a.m. and you awoke me to have a conversation about fucking toilet paper, whether or not I purchased it earlier in the day. That is why I'm annoyed. I'm going to move this so I can see this. There we go. That's better. And now, somehow, it is my fault, right? It is my fault that I don't feel the need to have a conversation. This is why domestic violence happens, okay? This is why people snap, all right? Now I understand where some of these fellas come from on these headlines that you read, like, or even females. I know not every dude is great. All right? Not every guy is me, okay? And I understand that. My ego is filling this room right now, okay? I am filling this goddamn room up with my egotistic, misogynistic ways because the ground that I walk on, believe it or not, turns to fucking, everything I touch turns to gold. That's it. Simple as that. I am one of them guys. I am one of those guys. Beyond years of wisdom is just stuffed in this brain. It's been handed down to me from great men like my grandfather that I've told you about, the man who brought a hooker to Thanksgiving dinner. I'm talking about the guy that calls me up and gives me advice about relationships, what I should be doing. You got to get out of this town. He told me he thinks in his head that this is kind of funny. I'm gonna take a side street. We'll get back to what we're doing. But my grandfather thinks in his head, it's so funny that I left the town of Tabor because he said, you know what, my son, this town is too small for you. And he talks like this. It's so funny. I want to get him on our live stream, and I can't wait for it. But he says, you know what, my son, this town is too small for you. You got to get out. You got to go experience the world. You got to see things. You got to do things and create your own personality, your own path in this world. And in the way he speaks and how he acts is so fucking funny because all the other family members think he's an asshole, but somehow me and him just hit it off. We're like the same person. So he's never rude to me. He's always joking and we have a great conversation. So I find that hilarious. I'm the favored one, clearly. But when I read those headlines of a spouse being murdered in the middle of the night, and I'm not saying I'm going to go to the extent of murdering my old lady. I would never do that because I don't feel like serving a prison sentence over a conversation over toilet paper at 4 o'clock in the morning. But I'm not saying in the future maybe I might be in a sleep-deprived psychosis to where I just so happen to have a butter knife in my hand and it is a gruesome act and I'm in just this deranged state from lack of sleep, lack of deep sleep, and somehow I wake up with blood on my hands. I snap out of it and I have blood on my hands and I'm looking around. I'm going, what the hell just happened? And then I got to look to the sky and be like, fuck. If only we didn't have fucking numerous conversations at 4 a.m. when you got up to piss, I would not be serving a life sentence in prison because you woke me in the middle of the fucking night to talk about whether or not I picked up frozen peas for dinner. God damn it, why me? Why did you choose me? Why did you put this on me? You know? And I'm left screaming into the sky, into the abyss, you know, with tears streaming down my face like it's the end of, it's always the beginning of like old 90s action movies of when they discover that something awful has happened. They get the news that their wife has passed. They get the news that, their daughter's been kidnapped, and it's like screaming into the sky in the rain. Oh, why? I must avenge her death. Even though I am the murderer in this whole scenario that I've built up in my head. But now I understand why those headlines exist and why those things happen, because I that's all it takes. A few of those. You've been tired. You've been miserable. You felt that, right? You're not going to go to the great lengths of a sleep deprived murder. You're not going to go there. But you've been angry enough coming home, and it's just like, guys and girls, right? Guys and girls. There are a few ladies out there that listen to this podcast, and you think to yourself when you come home, because asshole came home at 2 a.m, drunk out of his mind, bumping into the stove, knocking over the fucking dishes, he's got Motley Crue playing on the fucking television in the living room, thinking that he's going to have a few more beers before bed. Wakes you up because you got a 7 a.m. shift to log in at the hospital. Maybe you're a nurse, maybe you got to get up, and you're opening up the store that morning, and you got home, and you got the morning shift at the local diner, and it's already bad enough because you got 75-year-old men in there hitting on you at 7:30 in the fucking morning, asking you for another cup of coffee. And these old assholes, they tip like shit, right? Because they don't understand inflation. These old pricks that caused inflation don't understand it. So now you're already angry that you just logged in a shift, but these old pricks think that flipping you a nickel, because a nickel back in their day could buy a whole grocery store. He flips you on, don't spend it all in one place. And then you got to go home to a hungover prick that hasn't done jack shit all day, hasn't even cleaned up the mess that he caused that night. He still got his ass pointed straight in the air, fucking ripping farts, smells like shit in the house. He's hungover, miserable, and you're miserable as well because this prick woke you up from a dead sleep and you were already pissed off the fact that you had to get up and go deal with that shit. Now this is where the female side comes in. Those headlines, man murdered in sleep. I get it, ladies. You don't have to explain it to me. I understand this. I can put myself in your shoes because we're a different breed of human. I hate that. Different breed. I'm a different breed. Of course you are. You're a different gender. We think different. We have similarities in actions, but we're also different. Okay? We're also different. Which is why you shouldn't get the vaccine. Because we need misogyny. We need no, I won't go there. We need racism. That's what we need. We need a piss pile of racism. How great is this though? I'm gonna bring this up. Let's get right into this. I've went on a 23-minute tangent about everything that I didn't initially try to talk about, but I don't know what the Western Standard is. It was the first article. I imagine it's one of these. They're on Parler, so it's more of a right-wing news source. But it's the message that Big Trudy, the photo that they have, it's like him like with an underbite and looking very evil. Trudeau calls the unvaccinated racist and misogynistic extremists. I want to find the quote that he where is the quote? We all know. Okay, here we go. We'll start. This is all in French too. I like that he did this in French because it just gets swept under the radar. If it was in English, dude, this would be fucking everywhere. It's funny how this idiot, we call him an idiot, but he does some, I hate to admit, kind of smart things when he's trying to get his message across. Like if he said this in English, holy shit, this would be a soundbite everywhere. But because it's in French, it's I don't know. You know, you get what I'm saying? Like, if it was in English, that soundbite alone would just take the fuck off. But I feel like he knows what he's doing, and maybe not him or somebody in his cohort is like, do not repeat those words in English. But he'll get duped into it somehow. I don't think he's a brilliant guy by any means. In all seriousness, I don't see him as a very brilliant guy. Like, there's that clip of him. I wish I could find it. I've been trying to find it for a minute. There's that clip of him when he gets off his little tour bus and he's more focused on waving to the crowd of the paparazzi and the news sources, and he walks right into a planter and knocks it over and breaks the thing. That's how self-centered and like his image needs to be placed before anything else. You know, most people get I don't know about you, but you get a lay of the land and you're looking like, oh yeah, but he's got to be Dr. fucking look at me, and walks right into a planter, knocks it over, breaks the thing, and then acts as if nothing happened and continues on waving to the press. It is so funny. The guy's out of his mind. But let's get into his quote, because it is like, you almost have to just have a sense of humor throughout this whole ordeal that's happening in Canada, because nobody believes that it's actually happening up here. The Americans that you talk to that are in states like Texas, Florida, even like the flyover states that are kind of like, we're not really taking this too serious. We're back to normal. Where up here, there is a wave of brain dead that's just happening, and nobody sees it as, I wouldn't say I'm anti-vax. I'm more like anti-mandate. And to be honest, like I've told you on this podcast, I've gotten the jab. Do I regret getting it? Now, yes, that the fact that I'm not racist or misogynist no more, that's a kick to the balls. I've worked very hard this whole time to make sure that I'm perceived as a misogynist. I just spent the better half of this podcast, or the front half, the better half. I don't know if it's a better half, but I will say I spent the front half of this podcast making sure that I've just displayed my man card for you. And here, now he comes out and says that what, the vaccinated aren't racist or misogynist? What the hell is this? What an asshole. I've spent so long. Old Dr. Not So Proud Boy over here. All right, I'll get into his quote. "We are going to end this pandemic by proceeding with the vaccination," said Trudeau in French. "We all know people who are deciding whether or not they will be getting vaccinated, and we will be doing our best to try to convince them. However, there is still a part of the population that is fiercely against it. They don't believe in science, progress, and are often misogynistic and racist. It's a very small group of people, but that doesn't shy away from the fact that they take up some space. This leads us, as a leader and as a country, to make a choice. Do we tolerate these people? Over 80% of the population of Quebec have done their duty by getting the shot. They are obviously not the issue in this situation." Okay. So then they go into stats here. In Quebec, 84.5% of the residents have received at least one COVID vaccination, and a total of 14,900,242 jabs have been given out. Across Canada, 90% of people aged 12 and over have received one dose. A total of 87% have received two jabs. In Alberta, it's 90% with one jab and 85% of people with two. This is, first off, it's insane. It's insane to, like, this is the reach that they're trying to make, and this just amplifies and just roars up those online losers, those online comrades. We call them comrades, don't we? They're comrades. We're fighting the good fight. But we were told, what? We needed an 80% vaccination rate to get over this. Now it's 100% vaccination. Now we're looking at it that mandatory vaccines are going to be put in place. They're already starting to do that in Quebec and also in New Brunswick. I just talked to a buddy of mine. They have every border entry getting into the province. You have to go through a border to get in there and show paperwork. You have to show paperwork to get into the province in your own country. It's getting a little insane, right? We can say that, right? All right. Time for a little ad read. Shoddy is revolutionizing jewelry one shoddy at a time. The necklaces are multifunction and a conversation piece. These incredible shotgun necklaces have a shotgun tool built into every pendant. The quality necklaces will tear through beer cans and create a perfect hole every time for you to guzzle down your drinks. For everyone listening right now, we are offering a special discount for you. Use DangerCats20 for 20% off your next purchase at theshoddy.com. That's theshoddy.com, CHOTY.com. They've got everything from a Canada design to a mullet man shoddy. Follow these beauties, his words, not mine, at the shoddy on Instagram, and you'll see why you need this. altvape.ca/hack10. This discount code can work in person as well. Free same-day delivery within 2 hours of Calgary and Edmonton. Recycling program. Please bring all your empty pods, e-liquid bottles, coils, all used vape products can come back to any one of their stores' locations. Our commitment to the community by preventing youth usage via patron scan, ID verification. That's right, altvape.ca/hack10. These guys, they're offering you a product that most people would say are gay. Do I think vaping is gay? 100% I do. That's why I do it. But as we will learn in this episode, that being gay is better than being unvaccinated, racist, and misogynist. All right. Does alt vape stand for any of that? Most likely, yeah. In fact, their other program that they are running right now is if you head down to any of the store's locations, they will, instead of injecting you with a COVID vaccine, they will put watermelon blueberry vape juice straight into your veins, so that way you can avoid damaging your lungs. This is a new program that they just introduced while I am making up, but it will shoot nicotine straight to the vein. What other way would you like nicotine in your system? I find that I enjoy it in a vape form, but alt vape, hence alt vape, right? Alternative vape is now introducing a new form of ingesting, I guess to say, nicotine products. And we appreciate innovators here. We do. We appreciate innovators and people that push the narrative of science. That's what we like. And that's why we like altvape.ca. That's why we shop there and get all our vape products from them. Thank you. And back to the episode. There's a little word from our sponsors. I'm sure they don't take a deep dive into this podcast about what I'm talking about half the time. They're just like, whatever, he's doing his thing. Fuck it, who cares? But yeah, I would probably. It's infuriating watching people just like hand over your freedom and being like, yeah, you know what? They are right. Because it's statements like this that make you go, like scratch your head and be like, is this guy for real? Is he fucking with me? Is he fucking with me? They don't believe in science or progress. That's not true. Most of the people that I talk to that aren't vaccinated, it's not that they don't trust the science. It's they don't enjoy the fact that somebody's forcing them into getting something they didn't want in the first place. That's the majority of the people that I talk to. So I don't know what he's getting at here, and to tie it in with misogyny and racism, and are very often misogynistic and racist. That's such like a cucklord way of getting away from the actual issue at hand, that your rights and freedoms in Canada are being stripped away because some asshole is just saying you have to do this or else. That's what it's boiled down to. You have to do this or else. I'm not anti-vax. I'm not, because there's been flu shots around for a while. We've all got measles shots. You know, you've gotten you get vaccinated as a child. You do. You know, we get our shots when we're fucking children to stop us from getting the measles and all these other diseases that have been known to take us out. Now, whether you believe in vaccines or you don't believe in vaccines, and whether it's right or wrong that you think that these things should be mandatory, listen, I don't think that it should be mandatory. I'm not saying I'm an anti-vaxxer. That's what I hate about everybody on this side of the fence that goes, well, he's an anti-vaxxer. You're not listening. That's the problem. Nobody's listening to one another and having a actual conversation. Do I go on the internet and I troll? Yes, I do, because the internet is indeed, it's not real. It's fake. All right. But that's where these ideas start to boil, and then they boil over, and then you get to a point where everybody just is screaming and yelling at one another and not having a civil conversation to figure out what do we need to do to get past this and back the fuck to work, back the fuck to making a little bit of money. I'm tired of sitting at home. My mental health is taking a fucking shit kicking. I've seen the opioid crisis worsen because some people can't afford to, carry on with their lifestyle. So what do? You fall back to something that feels good and an escape, so you can get away from reality and not feel the pressure and even the social or the societal pressure that is put upon you to like strive to be a good citizen. It sucks. So what do? You fall into drug use, alcohol use, to numb that pain. And we're not talking about that. We're not talking about the suicide rates going through the roof because people can't afford their way of life that they once had, because maybe they don't believe that it's necessary to have a vaccine passport to go to your work. That's crazy, right? It's crazy. And to see the narrative change when you watch like governments come out and hold their press conferences and watch the narrative change over and over and over again, it's difficult to sit back and think like, what the fuck is happening? And not think like, what the fuck is happening? Before it was 2 weeks to slow the spread. Now we're going into year 3, right? No, yeah, no, we've now. 2 years have passed, okay? 2 years have passed. Your life has been put on hold for 2 years. If you had a child at the beginning of this pandemic, it is now going to turn 2 years old this year. That's insane. That's crazy. When you put that into perspective, you start to like, holy shit, 2 years of your life has been forced to sit inside. You've been then it was like, okay, then we need to hit this percentage of vaccination rate, and then, okay, herd immunity comes into play. Now it's like, oh, if you don't get a booster shot, now they're pushing a booster shot down your throat. Oh, you need to be double vaccinated. Now it's you're racist or misogynistic if you don't believe in getting the vaccine. So it's when you hear these things, it kind of defers you, or what's the word I'm looking for? It pushes you to go in the other direction when somebody's trying to tell you what you need, and you're this if you don't get it. And you're like, what the fuck? I'm neither of those. Me, on the other hand, not anymore, I guess, because apparently the vaccine solves all racism and has taken down the patriarchy, okay? That's what that has done. So that's upsetting to me, personally. ever since getting the vaccine, I feel the need not to say slurs. I don't know what it is. I walked down the street. I seen a Chinese guy. I held the door open for him, and I died. That's not me. That's not me. I waved to a black guy the other day. What the hell am I doing? You know? What the hell am I doing? He even looked at me and he goes, wait a minute. What the hell was that? He's like, don't do that anymore. Don't you wave at me. He goes, I know who you are. And I don't like that. And I said, I got vaccinated. And he goes, no, that makes sense. You know? I had a conversation with a woman the other day, and I didn't tell her to smile. And I felt disgusted with myself. And I'm like, what the hell is happening to me? I don't know what the hell is happening. But I just feel like I'm lost now. You know, I'm walking around in these streets. I'm looking at the sky and thinking like, Jesus Christ, why? Change is hard, you know, change is hard, and I'm having a difficult time dealing with it. It's been 2 months since I said the N-word, you know? I don't know what I'm going to do. What am I going to turn into? The safety dogs? Is that what's next? Christ. But in all seriousness, though, like, you hear these type of verbiage, right? This type of conversation that happens, and he does this on a public television station in Quebec and says this type of horse shit and alienates a small group of people and brands them something that they're totally not. So what does that show in the leadership of Canada, that this guy can't even go 15 minutes without projecting some woke bullshit to the people? You know what I mean? Like, it's difficult to sit back and listen to this and not get angry. It's almost like it's intentional in a way to say these types of things to anger a group of people, because that group of people that's already angered and alienated and, you know, family members, you can't come to my house if you're not vaccinated, because they sit there and they watch this propaganda just over and over and over again. The news is telling you this. Now this asshole comes out and says you're racist, and you've seen the youth. We've watched the youth that, you know, grandpa says a little off-color joke at the dinner table one night, and now your grandson or your granddaughter feels the need that she needs to take to TikTok and feel good about herself for calling grandpa a racist because, you know, he decided to tell a native joke at the dinner table. So this young Bethany sat there and made a TikTok calling her grandpa a racist, yelling at him at the dinner table. And it's hilarious in a way, but it's also kind of terrifying to know that this is how the youth feels empowered by, you know, sure, is the joke bad? I don't know. Is it funny? Sometimes stereotypes are hilarious. Is there no sense of humor with this youth? Are they riddled with fucking OCD, ADHD? They got every fucking mental health issue that isn't that you could. Holy Christ! Speaking of mental health issues, yeah, we're closing in on the 45-minute mark. Is that where we're getting? Oh, we're getting close to it. That's why I'm stuttering over here. I'm fumbling over words. Can't put sentences together. The saliva's building up in my mouth, so I'm spitting everywhere like a madman. But it's crazy to think that, you know, the youth feel good about that. I miss the days of like rebellious behavior when you were like told your parents to fuck off, and, you know, go back to that instead of like being a weak pussy. We didn't have the internet. We did, but it was awful. It wasn't as good as it is now. It's not as fun as it is now. You didn't have access to a lot of things. So what did you do? You tell your old man, you call him a fucking pussy. You're a pussy. Then he'd beat the shit out of you in the front yard, and that was a Tuesday. You know? That was childhood. That was childhood, man. And now your child might dox you on TikTok and you'll lose your job at the refinery because somehow saying a joke that revolves around stereotypes isn't allowed no more, you know, because you're not vaccinated, you're racist and misogynistic, you know. You got kids trying to feel good about themselves, and then the best is like the comment section and all them are like, yeah, you did good, so they like embrace that behavior, and it just keeps the wheel turning, keeps a good man down, you know. It's why white people should have started hitting their kids 15 years ago. You gotta fucking hit them. You don't see black kids doing this, right? Hood kids, their mom beats the shit out of them. You see those videos where the kid gets caught stealing, or mom finds out that the kid gets in. This is, wow. Oh boy. Yep, never mind. The vaccine did not erase my racism. Never mind. But I'm serious though. It's funny because like, you know, you see, they don't disrespect their mom. I mean, some dude, let's not get wrong, but there's always like a good video where if you showed a white parent hitting their kid and being like, you don't fucking do that, you'd be like, oh, what a bitch. And then it's funny, like in the hood, you'll see like a kid get his ass kicked by his mom, and then they just rip on the kid. Oh, you fucked up, you idiot. They give it to him. And I like that better. So before some 15-year-old decides to dox me on TikTok for saying something racial, I want to say that I'm siding with the black mother rather than the white mother. Okay? That's what I'm saying here. And that's what I miss. You know what? I'm digging a fucking hole deeper and deeper. So let's get into this fan question. Where are we now? Let me just pull her up. We'll get there in a second. Okay. Oh, okay. Perfect. We're allowed to use his name. Okay. Wyatt from Detroit Lakes writes to me. He says, Poppy hack. I like that. I don't know how old this kid is, but that might put me in the same position as a poor version of Jeffrey Epstein. We don't need underage gentlemen calling me Poppy, but I do like the ring of that. It does sound nice. I need some advice. My buddy and me are brothers, and he's been dating this chick for the past 6 months, and my brother told me that she might end it because I showed him a titty pic. What does a man do? And if you decide to use this, we'll put that in. And if you decide to use this as your fan question, I would be more than grateful so I can play it with him in the truck. Well, Wyatt, I'm glad you asked me this. Few issues here. I don't know how old you are. We'll click on his profile. I'm not going to out him. Oh, let's see here. No, he's, don't know your age. Only know your location. From Minnesota. Detroit Lakes. All right, Wyatt, let's get into this. I've had a minute to think about this earlier in the day. She's mad that you showed him a titty pic, okay? See, this might be an issue. You know, there's a little bit of, I sense some jealousy on her behalf. I mean, you're trying to, we all do it. Women are worse than men, I will say, when it comes to genitalia photos being sent. They are way worse than us, and I don't care what anybody says. They are evil, evil, evil people. Now, whether or not they ask for that cock shot, the ones that they do ask for, still they berate it. They show, okay? So I'm sensing that there is a little bit of jealousy of the bond between your brother and you, okay? Now you're showing what she doesn't see this as just like, oh, you're looking at another woman's breasts. It's her seeing this as like, oh, he's showing that there's freedom out there. There's freedom. There's other females. I'm sensing that you're a young man, you know, that the fact that you and your buddy are brothers. And I get that. I can also tell by the spelling mistakes in here that I'm guessing you're a blue-collar gentleman. You work hard. Both of you are, you know, you still have a bond that young men have, that you want to conquer the world. You have this excitement, you know, you're still wet behind the ears. You're experiencing new things every day. And what you just showed him was a gateway to a free life, right? And this is what a lot of females don't want, is you are showing a life that has no restraints whatsoever. You got a fresh titty pic and you're like, look at this. And then his brain starts thinking like, oh, I can see other titties. So what she's trying to do is set up walls, okay? Or no, well, she's trying to leave. She might end it because okay. Well, now that we got through that, I'm fucking up here. I'm sorry. This is bad radio. I understand that. I'll get back on track. And she wants to end it because you showed him a titty pic. You know what? Those are the ones you just got to let go. You got to bring your brother back in. You've shown him that there's more out there. There's more titties out there than the two that you look at every night. And that upset her. Okay? And that's okay. That's okay. You're going to go through this in life. You know what? My grandfather, speaking of him earlier, right? My grandfather once told me that breakups are a lot like funerals, all right? In a sense that, you know, the first funeral that you go to, it's rather difficult. You know, you cry, it's sad, you're mourning, you're going through all these emotions, these waves of emotions because you lost someone that you love, right? Similar to a breakup. But as you get older and you go through those emotions at more and more funerals, it gets easier. Do you understand where I'm going with that? That's great advice that man gave to me. So what I'm saying is the more breakups that you got to get through more breakups, and then they become easier and easier and easier. So she might decide to end this, but this is paving a better world and more emotional structure in your life in the end, my friend. So I wouldn't view this as something bad. In fact, I would view it as something good that you needed, okay? And you, Wyatt, are now bringing your brother back in closer to the circle. You two are now ready to conquer the world. You can wake up and envision a path together. What it sounds like is you have taken this photo. This photo it initially meant, first off, how did she find out that you showed him a titty pic? How did she find that out? Did he open his mouth? So that shows the honesty and truth. Or did you show him in front of her? Because either one of those moves, if he admitted to seeing, oh, you should see these tits that Wyatt showed me, and she gets upset, I can't believe it. Maybe she's insecure about her titties. And that's okay, because we as men, big or small, we love them all, right? I don't really judge. I don't judge anybody based upon their genitalia. Now, if you're a fat bitch, you know, or if you're just a slob, you're a pig. That goes for men too. I don't want to hear you talk about anybody else's body, okay? You're a pig. You're a pig. A disgusting mess. And this is not fatphobia, fat shaming. No, you're a pig. It's disgusting. Nobody wants to see that. There's a very select group of people that want to see that. And I'm sorry. There's heavy women and there's fat women. I like heavy women. Heavy women, okay? That's a little thick. You got a little thickness to you. I'm not saying like that disgust. It looks like, you know, you get the cottage cheese going, and like, you got the gut. When your gut hangs anywhere from mid-thigh to your knees, it's disgusting. It's gross. When your ass looks like a crack in the side of a mountain, I'm done, okay? Now there's heavy. Now I like heavy, all right? Heavy's okay. And a lot of you that have been introduced to my girlfriend, you'll be like, what the fuck? She's tiny. She is tiny. She weighs like 90 fucking pounds, which doesn't make sense for the brand, right? Doesn't make sense, but super funny girl. But this question isn't about me. This is about Wyatt. But I think what you did was you opened up a door to show your brother that these are the issues that he's going to have to deal with in the future, and this is not something that he wants to go through. So what you did was a psychological test on her, and I like that. I like that because ladies always play these psychological games with us, and they put us through little ringers. You know, it's almost like little mental obstacle courses, and they'll set you up and try and see like, oh, would you ever want to have a threesome with somebody? You know? And then you say, yeah, hell yeah. Oh, so you want to fuck another woman? No, it's not like, yeah, with you. Oh. And then there's that mental gymnastics that you have to play. You, Wyatt, just played it against her. And I feel like she doesn't like that. She doesn't like that because you woke your brother up to see the other side of things, that there is more titties out there. There's more than just the two that he looks at because you showed him another set. Now he sees them every fucking day, you know? You can go on the internet and see them. But you showed him that there was a woman out there that was willing to show you her titties, and you showed those titties to him. All right? That's a different scenario rather than just going on Pornhub and watching some Jubblies bounce. That's a whole different scenario. This was an interaction. This was an exchange. You exchanged words, which I'm guessing that you convinced her in some way, shape, or form that it was a great idea to send her tits to you, which is great. Ladies, you shouldn't be ashamed about sending some titties. Never be ashamed about sending some titties. You know? We appreciate those gestures. It shows confidence. All right? It shows you're secure with your body, and we're fine with that. No guy gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit. None of us care. All right? We appreciate the gesture. We enjoy that. It's simple things. That's how you please men. And this lady didn't like that. Wyatt's brother is now awakened to the fact that that could have been me. Why wasn't I on the receiving end of a titty pic? You've only been seeing this chick for 6 months, so it's good to get this out of the way. Great play on your behalf. I applaud you on this, because then it showed like this is the type of shit you're going to deal with down the road. Now, I'm a pervert, right? And I like to get that out of the way nice and early. I'm a pervert. I am. And I don't want to be dealing with somebody that can't either accept that I am a pervert or at least match that type of energy, right? You got it either or both, right? So what you did was help her decide that, I don't want to be around this type of misogyny, these unfact racist misogynists. So according to our government, I know that you are in Minnesota, but I feel like that was a great play on your behalf. Great psychological play. That's how you combat that type of female behavior, is by trying to play the game with them. Now, whether you intended it or not, you did. And you accomplished what you needed to accomplish by bringing your brother back in the circle of misogyny. And that was well played on your behalf, Wyatt. I do have to applaud that. And I'm very grateful that a young man like you is out there doing these types of things to ensure that your buddies go down the right path. They find the right person. It sounds like this lady is not built for what this man has to offer the world. And he's not going to refuse seeing another titty pic. And if she can't accept the fact that this guy wants to look at a titty pic, what else can she accept? You know, That he goes on a vacation with the fellas to Vegas on your 21st birthday? Is she not going to accept the fact that on Thursday nights, the fellas head down to the local pub and tip them back on Thirsty Thursday, get absolutely shit-faced and hang out, reminisce about the old times? Is she not going to accept that? See, this is a circle of friendship right here. A circle of misogyny. And I'm proud to say that I accept you in, Wyatt, for doing this. This is a great display of testosterone-filled balls, all right? And I understand you came to me and be like, I need some advice, but I feel like you just needed to hear it in a different perspective, from a different man, you know? And what other show will do this for you, you know? You came to the right show, the right guy, to get the answers that you needed to continue down this wonderful path that we call life and friendships and experiences. And this experience that you just gave your friend, brother, is exactly what he needed to know when what he's looking for in his next partner, okay? In his next partner. And the one after that, you've also helped him in terms of breakups. Now I understand this is only 6 months, and as time goes on, breakups become harder because you're leaving something that is so familiar. This is still new, it's fresh, it's 6 months in, you're still fucking like rabbits. You haven't quite figured each other out yet, and that's another portion of this that I'm going to tap into, is that you haven't quite figured out your significant other. And this little move brought out her personality that would show deeper into the future. So what you did was you helped him out tremendously. Because what if 2, 3, 4 years go by and all of a sudden these traits are slowly starting to show, this bitchy attitude, you know, the whining, the complaining. Because like I said, first, I'd say 6 to 10 months are like the honeymoon phases. You know, you refuse to fart in front of one another. You're like disgusting traits. You hide them as best as you possibly can, right? We all do it. And then as time goes on, you become more comfortable and comfortable and comfortable. And what you did was you brought out a trait of jealousy of her when she knows that he's looking at whatever slam piece that you have, Wyatt, and you decided to show the tits that were sent to you. She got jealous about that, and we know deeper into the future that's an even bigger issue. So what you did was you saved your friend, my friend. You saved your friend from, oh God, what I would consider a complete waste of time. So don't take this as a loss. Do not take this as a loss. Consider it a win. And I hope that helps you in your path of life, my friend. And I hope that helps you with your little buddy that you call a brother. And I thank you for writing into me. If you have a fan question, please DM me at UncleHack69 on Instagram. And I'm still trying to figure out the whole fucking voicemail thing. We'll get there. But thank you again for, for listening to the Uncle Hack podcast. And we'll see you next Thursday at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on iTunes, Spotify, and as well YouTube. And if you want this episode earlier, please check out the Patreon. Support the Patreon, patreon.com/DangerCat69, and you can become a member and you get an exclusive episode of the Uncle Hack podcast. And we'll see you next week.